Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope you had a great day today. This is Phil Russert, your host of Creatorcon Q&A. Tonight we have a special guest, Chris, and I'm going to say this wrong, and him and I have gone over this a while. So, all right, Chris, here we'll give it a try. Sotomayor. He's laughing at me backstage. So, all right, I'm a Mick. What do you want from me? Anyway, before we do that, I have my usual shout-outs to everybody. For your comic needs, we have Mad Titan Comics, Mad Titan _comics on Instagram, and we have Eric Gunderson, who's the owner and promoter on Facebook. We have Enrique Lopez. He does his inking with Kike on Monday nights at 8 p.m. He also has a Thursday show, which he has an amazing guest on. It'll be me. So if you have nothing better to do, absolutely nothing better to do, come on out and listen to me talk about what? I really have no idea, but we'll have fun. Anyway, if you go to his page, Studio MAENEFL, Studio Maine EFL on Instagram, you'll catch Inking with Kike Monday nights at 8 p.m. He does live inking and has a special guest. Again, I'll be on Thursday at 8 p.m. We have It Came From the Radio, which is an internet radio show hosted by Mark Torres. It's a good show. It's very informative, everything indie scene and everything pop culture scene. We have Andy Lee with www.lesdudis.com, LESDUDIS, everything pop culture and everything geek culture. Andy is also the awesome, wonderful person that does all my promo graphics, so thank you to Andy because I am very primitive. So that's the way that goes. And I just want to let everybody know that thank you to the artists that have donated prints for the giveaways. Eddie Avila, James Avila, Tom Travers, CJ Oshel, Anthony Biondalilo, Enrique Lopez has now offered to donate some prints that I received today. I will be showing them off soon. And thank you to everybody who has donated prints for the giveaways. A lot of great local talent that you should go check out, and I will talk more about them on a personal show another day. Anyway, having said that, Enrique's in here. Tonight, I have a colorist who pretty much colors every damn thing in Marvel and DC. If you look at your collection, his name is probably on about 70% of it. If you don't believe me, I'm telling you, go look at your box. He's on everything. He's worked with everyone and everything. And he's always a rock star in my mind. Anyway, I want to welcome Chris Sotomayor. I know I fucked that up. I said the F word now. You made me F on my own show.
I thought I was going to do it.
No, I just figured I'll give it a try, and you'll say, yeah, okay, good try. Yeah.
It's close enough.
What's up, Brandon? How are you? My mother's here. She says hello, too. So be on your best behavior as you made me drop an F-bomb. No, I'll blame you. It's easier.
Right.
So how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Good. Chris has always graced every one of my shows. You're a regular. Hopefully, you will continue to be a regular and a mainstay once all the craziness is over.
Absolutely.
You're always welcome. And I've gotten some great art from you. That's what I forgot. I meant to bring out the Captain America and show it. My first show, you had done a Captain America for me, and you had traditionally colored it, and it's a beautiful piece. And I just didn't take it out of the frame and off the wall, so my apologies.
Oh, I'm honored to be framed and on your wall.
You're honored to be framed? Okay, well, I framed you for making me drop the F-bomb, so there you go. So anyway, how's life treating you?
Well, it's about as good as it can.
Anybody
right now.
else? So a lot of people don't realize that colorists are usually, at least, the big time colorists are artists as well. Now, I don't know. So what inspired you to become a colorist as opposed to penciling pages?
Oh, it's kind of a long story. I actually got my start. Okay, good. I got my start in an artist studio back in the early 90s. And I kind of had the opportunity to dabble in a little bit of everything. So I strengthened my drawing. I would ink backgrounds. I would do layouts. I would do pretty much I would organize the closet. Everything that would be involved in interning in a studio, I would do. I learned the business side. I learned the art side.
You swept floors. You emptied garbages.
Oh, fuck yeah. I got coffee. Excuse
Oh,
me.
you threw the F-bomb out.
We're only a couple minutes in.
Yeah, really? You're going to set Shaw's record.
We're gonna test the limits of censorship tonight. I did everything. I ran errands. I did everything inside and outside the studio, whatever the guy needed me to do.
Are you allowed to name who? Dante wants to know which artist.
Yeah, Michael Davis. I met Michael Davis through his friend Dennis Cowan, who I was a big fan of at the time. Dennis was drawing Deathlock, and they were about to. Dennis, Michael Davis, Derek Dingle, and Dwayne McDuffie were just starting the Milestone venture. And I got to, no, I didn't clean toilets, thank God. I got to be in Michael's studio, like at the ground floor of all that stuff. So I was there as the Bible work was rolling in for the Milestone universe, the Dakota universe. I remember all the artwork coming in. I remember helping do color schemes on Paragon, who later became named Icon. In the Bible, he was called Paragon. So I got in on the ground floor of all that stuff, almost from the inside, kind of like adjacent. But, since I was working more in Michael's studio, I was doing more of anything he needed me to do and not necessarily Milestone stuff. Right. So I did see all that stuff happening, but, just on the periphery of all the other crap I had to do for Michael. So, but it was a great experience. I met a bunch of other artists. I came up through a program where it was kind of an unofficial new talent program. Michael had a few people in his studio who would work, during the day. And then on Thursday nights, he would teach a class, an art class, right? So he would also have guests come in. He'd have Walt Simonson. That's the first time I met Walt Simonson. Dennis Cowan, pretty much anyone who he could get in there. And it wasn't just comic book artists. It was, illustrators like Gil Ashby and just any other artist he could get in there to talk to us dumb kids, he'd bring them in. And in the class, on the Thursday night class, I was in there. We had almost 20 people in there. John Paul Leon, Bernard Chang, Sean Martinborough, Dennis Calero was in there for a little bit. A bunch of us were in there, and we were watching Walter McDaniel, who wound up taking over Deathlock a little bit after Dennis left. We were all in there doing our own thing, watching everyone, watching all of our peers and friends achieve varying levels of success. And it was a great experience because I learned a ton of stuff, and I met some great people, and that kind of led me to where I'm at now. But I got a feel for doing everything, from inking and coloring and penciling and layouts and understanding how to read contracts and getting coffee and all that shit. I learned everything. So it was a nice real life crash course into the business and end of comics.
But what made you go to the colorist side of things instead of penciling?
I'm not that great at world building.
Okay.
And it seemed at the time that I could probably have an easier time breaking in coloring and then maybe do something else once I'm in. But it just got to the point where I had been coloring like some indie stuff at that point in Mike's studio. And I just preferred it after a while. I was paying more attention to some other color artists like Richmond Lewis, who colored Batman Year One. Sherilyn Van Valkenburg, who did Farford and Grey Mouser. Of course, Lynn Varley with Elektra Lives Again and Dark Knight Returns. I looked at all that stuff and, I saw that there was a way to add extra life into the art. And that's the thing that really intrigued me, adding that extra degree of polish. I was kind of drawn to that.
It's funny. I have you colored a few of my jams. Unfortunately, they're on the opposite wall, which is behind the camera.
Right.
I was prepared. Yes. I was just happy to get you on the show that I just forgot about this little crap.
That's fine.
Dante said, by the way, who do you have running your Wikipedia? It's bare bones.
Do you want to?
Yeah. There you go, Dante. I want to remind everybody, I don't know if you have it to show, but Chris was very kind to offer up the Venom that he drew and colored traditionally to the best question. So ask your questions, and I will let you know if I, for whatever reason, miss your question. At the end, we'll give you time, like always, after I'm done talking with Chris, to ask your questions. If you ask it and I miss it and you leave, I'm not going to know. You don't get a chance, so I'm sorry. And I will announce the winner tomorrow. And Chris said to leave it up to me because he just wants to leave it up to me. Anyway, so we'll leave it up to me. So we have a few questions, by the way. Dell, who's part of my Rogues Gallery, you don't know what the Rogues Gallery is, I'll tell you that. Dell's going to ask 100 questions tonight because he'll want to win,
Okay.
Which is fine. Is there a particular project that when you completed, you thought to yourself, I made it, or just the sensation that you have accomplished something you always wanted to do?
Oh man. See, I'm kind of, my whole attitude towards my career is that, number one, I like flying under the radar. Number two, I'm surprised when anyone knows who the hell I am. And number three, I'm kind of, I mean, I've been doing this for a while, but I'm kind of still excited about new projects when they come in. So especially if it's like a character or an artist or a combination of character and artist that I haven't worked on before. So I will say the first time, there were a couple of times when I thought I made it, but the first time that was really like, oh shit, you did it, was when they asked me to color Captain America over Andy Kubert when Mark Waid was writing it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I've always compared you to the colorist version of Scott Hanna. You're both extremely nice guys. You're both workhorses. You both have such a resume. I mean, incredible resumes, but neither one of you is treated like a rock star.
That's okay.
And he's the same way because you just put your head down and work. Like when you're at my shows, your head is down and you're working. As a matter, I didn't even know you curse because you don't speak much at my shows. I mean, you and I have gotten to talk, but your head's down and you're always working. You're always doing something. And Scott's the same way. And I just always saw that comparison between the two of you. Have you colored over Scott's inks before?
Oh, hell yeah.
I know the answer to that, but I'm for those out there.
No, Scott's awesome. I love working with Scott. He and I have been in the trenches. And when I say in the trenches, I mean, like we've been jamming on books that are in danger of being late. But working with Scott, I know that Scott's going to give me everything I need to do what I need to do when I need it. So he's like ride or die, as far as I'm concerned, because I know he's not going to leave me assed out. I know I'm going to get everything that I have to get with time to do it. And, we jam. We don't really talk or anything except at a convention. Every once in a while, if I see him, I'll say hi and, we'll chat a little bit. But when we're working on a thing, we just, like you said, we put our head down and we just work. We crank it out.
That's what I love about guys like you. And like I even asked Scott one time, and I'm sure you'd have probably the same answer. There is this celebrity mentality with a lot of newer people now. And it's even with them just being on one book, they haven't even had a body of work yet. And as a celebrity, see, just your face alone already tells me the answer. And this is why we get along. And, not being disrespectful to anyone, but I asked Scott, and I asked Sean Chen, I said, how come you guys have more of that grit, head down in the trenches, attitude, opposed to some of the newer people? And not all the newer people, but some. And they said, because we just didn't know if we had a job the next day. I mean, the comic industry the way it was, and just there weren't movies making it millions and billions of dollars and commercials for you guys. And you really were struggling. You were working. You were starving artists, so.
Yeah, I've had working in Michael's studio, I had it drilled into me that number one, we're all expendable. Number two, if we were to leave a book or series or whatever, like no one would really bat an eye. The book would still go on. Fans would still buy the book no matter what, because comics is it's a hobby built on habit, right?
Right.
Like for so long, I was buying a book. I can't remember what it was, but I was buying a book, and I didn't even enjoy it, but I was buying it out of habit.
I've been doing that with the X-Men for the last 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 90s X-Men sometime after Claremont left. Then they started rotating writers, and Joe Kelly was writing it for a while. And, Joe Kelly did a fine job. Steven Seagal did a fine job. They all did a great job, but it wasn't Claremont, and I just kept buying the book because,
Right.
I buy X-Men. So, but yeah, I know, I got to get my stuff done. My stuff done. I'm a soldier. You tell me what I need to do, and I do it. And it was drilled into my head that you don't ever miss a deadline, and you don't ever give an editor an excuse to fire you, because they'll come up with enough excuses on their own. You don't need to give them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, you had touched on it, and this is so true. A lot of, I can't say a lot, but there are people now that think they're the reason why someone's buying Batman. Like they're what brings readership.
Right.
Batman's been selling for how many decades? I mean, the book sells itself. I mean, the quality, yeah, you could attribute to the quality, but the book is always going to sell, like you said. Fans are fans.
I mean, there's definitely an ebb and flow with creative teams, right? But you also know that there's some books that are they're not going to go away.
Right.
Like, like Batman or Superman or Captain America or Spider-Man. They may cut back on a couple of titles, but you can always count on Detective Comics being on the stands. You can always count on Batman being on the stands, Amazing Spider-Man. Those will always be there. I'm all for an artist who understands their worth. And if they can get whatever money they can for the time that they're working on whatever book, that's awesome. And I know those higher profile books bring in better royalties.
Right.
Also awesome. And that's great. I tend to not think I'm bigger than any book, but then again, I'm also much lower on the totem pole. I'm not a guy who can do a couple of years on Batman and then go off and do like my own creator-owned thing and expect 60% of those fans to follow me. That's not going to happen with me.
Which is a shame, because your name is on so many books. I mean, my God, man, you're on everything.
I get around, yeah. I get around.
And that's the thing is, when I asked you to go to the show, I mean, were you surprised that I knew who you were, or that I invited you? Of course I knew who you were.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when everyone knows who I am, yeah.
Dude, I ran up to you with my first X-Men jam right behind us.
Yeah.
At New York Comic Con 2016. I was like, oh, God, I thought you'd be like, I'm not interested. And you were like, yeah, I'd love to. That looks great. And I was like, yes! I'm walking away going, yes, I'm going to get him to color it. So hopefully it'll be inked by my birthday, and we'll get on that.
Cool.
But we have a few questions. What was your biggest obstacle in any of your projects, and how did you overcome it?
Ooh, there was a book that I was on that I felt like the editor didn't want me on the book. I'm not going to name the book. This is a long time ago, and the editor.
Your language.
Yeah, probably.
Why are your emails always laced with F-bombs? No.
The editor and I kind of buried the hatchet, and we're all good. But I had been on this book for a while, and this new editor came in, and the previous editor told me, hey, this new person's coming in. They don't really like what you're doing. So don't expect to last long. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
I appreciated the heads up. She was very nice, to give me the heads up. So that's
cool. Still not great to hear. Wow.
But having that little forewarning, I was able to line up some other stuff in that time, knowing that the axe was coming. So I did appreciate that. Listen, like I said, an editor, if they don't want you on a thing, they'll find a way to get rid of you, and it's fine. That editor, he called me into the office one day. This is when I was living in Manhattan. So I jumped on the subway and I headed down. Uh, Called me into the office one day. He said, "Listen, I don't think you're right fit for this book. This isn't how this guy's usually colored, and you're a little too loose." So I said, "Okay, well, what do you want me to do?" He said, "No, there's no real direction to go in."
So he's not even like trying to work with
No,
you.
no, not at all. He didn't hide it
Wow.
at all. He wasn't a dick about it. He had a preference, and it wasn't me, and he felt I wasn't right on the book. And I'll tell you something else. It was a book that I felt I was struggling on anyway. So I was half relieved and half annoyed at the whole experience.
Right. If you
Annoyed.
name the book, everybody's gonna go thumbing through to
I
see
know,
the
right?
Is it the Falco?
I mean, and the penciler even called me up, which was wild because he was overseas. He called me up and said, "Hey, I do like what you've been doing. Do you want me to talk to him?" And I said, "No, it's not. I thanked him. I said it wasn't necessary because I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted, and I'll
Right.
move on to the next thing." And very early in my career, and I realized, you know what, that shit just happens. Stuff doesn't work out with an editor, and okay, you move on to the next thing, and it's not a big deal. I mean, at the time, I thought it was a bigger deal than it really was, but because you feel bad, and I'm still trying to build my career at this time, and I had maybe, I don't know, like 10 books under my belt.
And you don't want to make waves arguing with an editor. You're not going to win
Yeah,
that fight.
no. You definitely choose your battles. So that was something that was kind of an obstacle. There was another one I'll mention briefly. When I got my first Marvel gig, it was a couple of covers on, I want to say, classic X-Men. One was Dusty Abel, and one was Kevin Nowlan. I had done those two covers. I was moving back to New York from LA, and I had met with the editor in the X-Men office, Jason Liebig, and I had lined up a few meetings that day. One with Jason, just to touch base, hopefully get some more work, and then another one with Matt Idelson and Joe Andriani, and I think one with Matt Hicks. Just
you
kind of
remember
go.
a lot of names. Good for you.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
I was trying to go up the editorial row at Marvel back when they were at on Park Avenue. So I met with Jason first, and he took the wind out of my sails, man. I went into his office and I had a couple of copies of the covers that I had done with him, to show to the other editors. And he met with me in his office and said, "Yeah, your stuff is good. But if you don't color like Liquid Graphics at the time was coloring a bunch of Marvel everything stuff. He said, if you don't color like them, you're not going to get any work." He told me that flat out. And then he walked me over to Matt Idelson's office. And then, what am I going to do? Like, I felt like I got punched in the gut.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm wasting my time and wasting everyone else's time. But that was definitely something I was able to overcome.
I was gonna say, how did you go through the rest of that gauntlet? I mean, and what kind of did you hear more of that, or?
Luckily, no. He was the only one who said that to me, and I will thank him because when I hear something like that, it just kind of makes me try harder. So
Cool.
yeah, so I spoke to Matt Idelson, and he was really nice, and Joe Andriani, and they shared an office at the time, so that was easy. Kind of killed two birds with one stone. Then I went over to Matt Hicks' office and spoke to him a little bit, and that was cool. And I wound up leaving empty-handed, but 2 days later, I think that was on a Wednesday, 2 days later on a Friday, I got a call from Matt Idelson asking me if I wanted to color an issue of Deadpool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but he needed it Monday.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was that, a good 20-hour day, 2 days in a row?
Yeah, it was rough. But I got it done because, you get it done.
And that was the test.
Yeah, That was it.
They're going to test you. Deadlines. You got to meet deadlines first. More than anything, that's what they want.
Yep.
I want to remind everybody, share this live, please. Even start some watch parties. Get some more people in here. Ask your questions. Join in. So you do traditional colors as well, right? I mean, you traditionally colored that Captain America.
Yeah, yeah.
Which do you prefer?
Well, when I started doing comics, it was all like color guides and traditional colors, painted colors. I think, I don't know. Like I like all the effects and stuff that you can get in Photoshop and digital coloring. That's all great. And I like knowing what it's going to look like when it prints. So that's cool. But like I spend my weekends now drawing.
Nice.
Yeah, I've just been trying to dust off the cobwebs and, just feel a little bit better about it. And it's relaxing. So I've started just doing sketchbooks that just focus on like one concentration at a time. So like I got a little sketchbook full of heads, and I got another sketchbook that I'm going to start doing hands in, and just shit like that.
Have you ever thought of, at the point that you feel comfortable, doing like a sketchbook for Kickstarter or something? I mean,
actually, I'm talking with a writer friend of mine. And we came up with 3 projects to do. Like one is going to be a lot of short stories, a lot of funny short stories. And then there are a couple that are going to be a little heavier. So we're going to do the one with the short stories first, I think. I have to wait for her to get some of her end together. And I've already started some designs. And then that'll be seed money for the other couple of projects that we're going to do later on.
Hey, let me know whatever I can do to help promote and share it out there. And
thanks.
Even if you want to, I'm booked through February, but anytime you want to come on, right. I don't care if it's a Wednesday, a Monday, a Sunday. Come on, and we'll promote the shows anytime you want.
All right, thanks. We're a ways away, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, just, don't think like if you see that I'm booked that I don't want to bother. No, tell me. We'll get you on, no problem.
Okay.
So, you were coloring with Sean Chen on Batman Beyond. I know that's coming to an end, unfortunately. Yeah. And that book was doing well. It made a big splash with the female character and everything. But are there any books that you worked on that were your favorites?
I have favorites for different reasons.
Throw them out there.
Okay.
We're all ears.
Captain Marvel back in 2000, that was a favorite of mine because it was the first time a book had been shot from pencils that we were doing monthly. There was another book that was shot from pencils. That was Extreme X-Men, but it wasn't monthly. It was on a 6-week schedule. Our book was on a monthly schedule, and it was only me coloring it. Extreme X-Men was liquid, so it was Aaron Lucen and Chris Leitner. And not to take anything away from them, because you compare their book to mine, and they blew me out the water. But I did like the idea of having Captain Marvel be the first monthly book that was just shot from pencils and painted from pencils. So there's that. Supreme Power was, I felt, a really good book for my career at the time. Worked with Gary Frank on that and Straczynski, J. Michael Straczynski. That was a fun book. I was able to do a lot of just very technical storytelling in that book, little Easter egg things that normally you wouldn't really pay attention to. I've had a couple of readers pick up on some of the things that I've done in that book. Like every time Hyperion shows up, he's bathed in this warmth. There's a lot of warm colors surrounding him. And when Nighthawk showed up, it was all these crazy blue and reds going on, and it was really psychotic looking. So I've had a couple of fans come to me and say, hey, I caught this and I caught that, and I thought that was really interesting. And, so that book, that was a career highlight. And then there was another book that no one bought called Electric Ant, which was based on a short Philip K. Dick story. and that was also shot from pencils. Pascal Alix did the pencils, and David Mack wrote it. And I digitally painted the whole thing. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it wasn't just like standard comic book coloring. It was full on painting using different brushes and, stuff that wasn't really done a lot at the time. This was what, like 2003 or something, 2005, maybe the latest. Yeah, so that was really fun because I got to stretch my legs a little bit, and it felt more like oil painting. It looked more like oil painting too.
Can you paint, by the way? I mean, do you use paints, acrylics, or oils, or whatever?
Yeah, when I first went to art school, you learn to paint. I learned how to oil paint. I dabbled a little bit in acrylics, mostly airbrushed acrylics, so like the really thin, transparent acrylics. But I've got watercolor sets here at home that I use in my sketchbook, or I'll do commissions with. I did a commission last week, a Green Goblin one. I posted up on Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, I mean, I dig that stuff. I just don't have enough time to do it. I've got like a painting swirling around in my head that I want to do for my wife. She likes elephants, so I have an elephant painting in there. Yeah.
Nice. I was actually I admired the fact I didn't know you told me that you donate a lot to charity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. A lot of people don't do that.
You do what you can, with what you can. As far as I'm really best at home, just like sitting down and concentrating on work and family and stuff. I'm not really one for going out and doing shit, and like conventions at first they were really difficult for me till I found a way to do it. My self-esteem, a little therapy here for you. My whole sense of worth and self-esteem is rooted in my productivity, right? So in order for me to feel like anything I'm doing is worthwhile, I need to know that I'm doing something good. So to get my ass out of the house and go to conventions, the only way I can do it and feel decent about it, like a decent human being, is if I go with a purpose. So I go to conventions, and most of the money I make from conventions, at least half of it, goes to charity. I'll pick a charity for that convention in particular, or maybe there's a charity that I'm doing, that I'm supporting throughout the year, like RAIN or the hurricane relief funds for Hurricane Maria was probably one of the first ones I've done. And it makes me feel better doing conventions. It makes me feel like it's worth it to do something like that.
Right.
And it's not like I said, I do them for different reasons than other people. I know there are people who go to conventions and they make their money at conventions. That's their income. And then there are people who go to connect with fans and sell commissions and, cover the cost of their whatevers for the show. And listen, I like to do that too. I like to cover my costs for the show. But yeah, anything I've donated art to different charities. I've taken the money that I've made from conventions and donated it to charities. It just makes me feel like I'm a worthwhile human being. So,
well, I know that when I met you in 2016, you were not by any means like rude or dismissive, but you looked kind of like uncomfortable. Like there were just too many people around. So I didn't stick around. I was like, I don't want to hound the guy. But then when I showed you the jam, like your face lit up. And I have to tell you, when I go to a professional and they look at the jam and they were like, oh, I'd love to work on that. It looks fantastic. And you wanted a closer look and you admired it. It made me feel good walking away. And I was with my friend Eric, and I was like, damn, Eric, did you see that reaction? I'm like, he really liked this, and he wants to work on it, and he's a top colorist, and I got to get him on this. And I was like excited, and Eric's like, yeah, man, that was pretty cool. And then I went back to you a second time later, and you were like, hey.
Oh, dude, I was spent at that point. Yeah.
Spent.
I'm no good in public. I'm no good at conventions. Like I'm good for a little while, but then yeah, if you catch me again, it's like a completely different
You
person.
seem fine at mine. I mean, it's only one day at that point, but
Yeah.
well, I hope my next one's going to be a 2-day. It's not going to be for a while, but it's going to be a 2-day. So hopefully you got the stamina for that.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be fine. It's local, so I can go back home and recharge, and then
That's true too. Yeah,
yeah, that it helps. That helps.
I'm sure it helps a lot. And then seeing your family and just
Yeah,
getting that energy.
yeah, yeah.
Dels, is there someone you wish to have worked with, dead or alive? And
Uh,
you didn't have to have any part in that.
Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, Gene
Nice.
Colan. Actually, no, I did work with Gene Colan. Yeah, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko. Love those guys.
Did you ever get to meet Kirby or Dicko?
No, no. There was a show that I was supposed to go to. It was his last show, and I didn't go. I think it was the last San Diego that he did. And I wound up not going, and I regretted it ever since. But yeah, Kirby would have been the man to see.
I forget who I was just talking to, and they showed. Oh, maybe it was Marat. Yeah, Marat. He showed us that he had a Kirby in his sketchbook. I was like, "Oh, you son of a! I got to go to Phoenix and rob him." I'll be like, "Look."
Yeah, Kirby in your sketchbook. That's freaking awesome.
I know. And then he told a story how he had to sell it. I'm like, what do you? What, he had mind? But then he got it back. So how lucky.
Oh my God.
So Dante was asking, when it comes to most creatives, they are never happy with their finished work and can see all the things they would have done differently if they had more time.
Yeah.
What's a project you wish you had more time with? On the flip side of that, what's one project you drop on the table when you discuss what you do proudly? Good question.
Okay. Proudly, I would have to say, listen, that shifts all the time because I hate everything I do.
You're like every artist.
Yeah. Just like Dante said, I liken it to to watching porn. You're disgusted with yourself afterwards, and you don't even want to look at it anymore.
Man.
It's fine while you're doing it, but when you're done, it's just like it's gross. I want it away from me.
You're talking to the wrong guy because Dante's like, no, I'm good with it after too. No.
I will say right now, I'm probably the proudest of the question series that we wrapped a couple months ago. Working with Dennis and Bill, that's an all-time high for me. They're my two favorite artists ever. So working with them on that, but it was also the most stressful because, it's Jeff Lemire writing it, and then Dennis Cowan is penciling it, and then Bill Sienkiewicz is inking it, and then it's me, right? So if the book looks shitty,
wow, what is this down?
But listen, if the book looks shitty, who does that land on?
Right.
It's not going to be Dennis and Bill.
Right.
It's going to be me.
The colors ruined it.
Yeah, I'm the last idiot holding the bag. So, yeah.
How do you? Jeff Lemire. Did you ever talk to him? The guy hides. He's a real recluse.
Is he?
Yeah.
We've only exchanged emails from.
He won't even allow comments on his Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it's changed. I haven't seen his page in a while, but
right.
I'd love to get him to the show, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, if he's a recluse, forget it.
Yeah, exactly. And I spoke to Sienkiewicz, and he gave me all his contact info, but we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Bill's awesome. I love Bill.
Yeah, he's good friends with Billy Tucci too. So, and he was nice when I spoke to him. Hopefully, he'll be nice and respond again. Yeah, sure, I got to talk once. Let's hope he gets to talk twice. But to that question, you had two. He said, "What's one that you wish you had more time on?"
Oh shit! Every book. No, wait.
Well, Dan Lee is here. He's awake. Look at that son of a bitch. All right, so go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just amazed.
There was a book I was doing at DC in the beginning, an Amethyst book, and I felt like I really shit the bed on that one. Listen, it's totally obscure, but it sits in my head. Every page that I've screwed up just sits in my head. Every cover that I've screwed up sits in my head. I think about that Dusty Abel cover that I did back in '96,
No, you're gonna beat yourself up over something that's over
and
20 years old.
there's a Cully Hamner cover that I did in '96 or '97, and it's Cyclops and Jean Grey in an airplane, and it's the interior of the airplane, and they're running up because the airplane's diving, and they're running the opposite way going up. And I look at that now, and I'm just like, oh, what the hell was I thinking? You know, some of those decisions are they're so shitty.
And 10 years from now, you're going to say it about now.
Even before the Marvel stuff, right? My first real freelance work was for Disney Adventures magazine. They had a comics section in their digest magazine, and I did what the fuck was it? I think it was a Timon and Pumbaa story.
You're on 4 now.
Sorry.
You've beaten Sora. You're on 4.
We're in for a ride today, let me tell you. But it was a Timon
That's
and
one
Pumbaa
every
story.
10 minutes.
And I know I screwed up the lighting, and I think about it now. I was cleaning up my office, and you can't see the mess because I put this thing here. But I was cleaning up my office, and I came across all these old Disney style guides, these reference sheets that I used when I was coloring that stuff. And I finally threw it away after like 20 some odd years. But
Why would you throw that away?
It's just taking up space. No one uses that stuff anymore.
I'll sell it. Somebody would probably love to have it.
They were photocopies.
Oh.
Yeah. But seeing that stuff just brought all that stuff back to me, like Timon and Pumbaa story, the freaking what is it? The Darkwing Duck story I screwed up, the Chip and Dale story I screwed up all those stories. I had lighting from all different directions. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was learning on the job. I was only so fortunate that Heidi McDonald chose to hire me and let me and just put up with all my bullshit back then. So, yeah, I was just I didn't know.
So when you would color straight over pencils, though, that's harder to know light source. I mean, so do you like coloring straight over pencils, or do you not? Or do you like? Does it give you more freedom to get creative on your own, or would you rather the inks?
I do like coloring over pencils immensely. The problem is there's so many people better at it now than I am. I like the idea of coloring over pencils because, like, you get the black and white artwork. You can't see what I'm doing here now, but I've got stuff here now. Yeah, you can't see that. You get black and white artwork, and it's the black parts of the artwork. That's your darkest value, right? So when you get artwork that's just pencils, you have to create the darkest value.
Right.
So there's a little more work on my end. But I like that freedom because I get to create the darkest values. So I get to manipulate the whole spectrum of values instead of just like this 20% to 80% here, right? So there's a lot more freedom. There's a lot more work involved. But like I said, like Rain Barreto is better than I am at that stuff. Dave McCaig, Laura's, Martin's, if you would have asked me back in 2000 when I was doing Captain Marvel, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Fuck, I'm the man, whatever. But there's another one. But it's gotten so far past what I was doing at the time. Like, so many other people have a better handle on it than I do at this point.
I'll take your word for it, but you're also a very self-deprecating individual, so part of me won't take the word for it.
Okay.
for the look, but I'm partially colorblind, so I couldn't tell you my ass to my elbow. I mean, I really am. My wife is like, I would look like Bobo the Clown if I dressed myself. And my wife's like, that doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't go. You can't do red and purple, honey. It doesn't look good.
No, yeah. I learned that.
So you're like I'm your antithesis, okay?
Right.
I'm the anti-Soto. Maybe that should be my new nickname, the anti-Soto.
Bizarro Soto?
Yeah, me and Bizarro Soto. That's funny. So who have you? I'm asking the same question actually. So I'll give it credit to Dell because is there a particular project you want to work on? Do you want to work on a movie project?
No, I don't want to work on a movie project.
Mhm.
You start working on movie stuff or any kind of consumer product stuff even, and there's just so many eyes on what you're doing, and none of those eyes understand what you're doing.
Right.
So no, it's more of a headache than it's worth. Number
So you
one.
want like the Star Wars fans kind of backlash?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I dipped my toe in there already. I'm done. I'm done. I don't know. No more.
What about someone you? What about a project you would like to work on that you haven't yet?
Uh, there's only one that eludes me. Um, my favorite Marvel hero is Daredevil, and I have not had a run on Daredevil. I've done a short story. I've done a couple of short stories. Now I've done 3 short stories, and I've done some covers and whatever little things here and there. But I really want a run on Daredevil. That would be my thing.
Everybody pitch it. Everybody pitch it.
Daredevil's my favorite at Marvel. Nightwing's my favorite at DC.
Nice.
I've done Nightwing. I'm good.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to be getting a commission when I can of Nightwing versus Daredevil because I always thought they were the counterparts,
Right.
and I'll have you color it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. I'm gonna because I have a DC versus Marvel thing going on that I do commissions of, and
Cool.
that'll be the only one I color, but I'll have you color it.
Okay. Thank you. I would love to do that.
Who would win?
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
I got to go with Daredevil. I think he gets the edge.
See, who would win between Batman and Daredevil? Because then I'll tell you what I think about the others.
Unfortunately, I think probably Batman, just because his intellect is higher and he's got gadgets. But I think Nightwing would lose to Daredevil.
All right. My hot take, and you won't agree with me. I think Dick is a better Batman than Bruce.
Interesting. Why?
I think Dick doesn't have all the Dick doesn't have all the
You just like cursing. You just need to say dick 3 times.
Dick. Richard Grayson doesn't have all the psychological issues that Bruce does.
Other than a daddy issue, but yeah.
Daddy issue. But Bruce he's so screwed up.
But don't you have to be to do what the hell he's doing?
Grayson can do it better, I think. He can do it without all that baggage.
So you liked the run that Frank Quietly was doing with Batman and Robin?
I was very much into it. Yeah. But listen, I even liked it when Mike Manley was doing the book and
Right.
Dick Grayson had replaced Batman, had replaced Bruce.
So who wins though, Moon Knight or any one of those guys?
Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight.
He's crazier. He's back crap crazier than all.
He is, yeah.
He's got the gadgets and he's got the money and he's pretty intelligent.
He's like Batman on steroids. Wow, that's tough. I tell you though, Moon Knight, just as an aside, I think Moon Knight works better if you keep him in the supernatural. If you keep him entrenched in that stuff. You can't have him do all the stuff that Batman does because then it's just Batman.
Right.
Yeah, you're better off Werewolf by Night and like all that other stuff.
All the stuff with Khonshu.
Yeah. Keep it there.
So who's an artist, a penciler or an inker that you really love to color over, or you haven't but would love to color over?
I think it's a 3-way tie between Dennis, Bill, and Will Spertasio. Like I love coloring all 3 of those. Bill had me do the New Mutants special last year, which was freaking awesome because he asked for me, and I was like, "Oh yeah!" And then Dennis just has me doing everything that I want to do. Right, I'm working on another thing with him, very soon in a few weeks. A death metal. I'm sorry.
Are you able to mention the project? Or you're not allowed.
I can say it's a death metal tie-in.
Okay.
And then there's some milestone stuff that I can't mention either. But
oh wow!
That stuff is there too.
Cool.
And then Wills, I would love to do a long form thing with Wills, preferably a Punisher thing, but I mean, that's up to Marvel and Wills. Wills has asked for me too on a bunch of covers, especially back when there were more alternate covers before the shutdown. But, I think Wills and I get along really well, not just work wise, but, person to person too.
Well, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
And I like Joe a lot too. The only thing is Joe keeps giving me excuses why he can't get on the show. I'm like, listen, it's a running thing between Wilson and I. Wilson is a foodie, and he's like, yeah, I want tiger fin shrimp. I'm like, dude, we're on Long Island. We got tiger fin shrimp. Come and I'll give you pounds of it, man. Come on.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, I'll come to the show. And they're like, yeah, he'll be on the Q&A. And I'm like, okay, when? And Joe's like, we'll get back to you. I promise I'll get back to you. Like,
Joe keeps him on track.
She's like, work. Yeah, he'll talk, and she'll smack him in the arm. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at conventions too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're good people, though. I like them both a lot.
Yeah, they are. They are. Very good. Down to earth. I like them.
Keith had asked pretty much the question, what is the one book you always wanted to work on, and what was your first comic that you remember buying at a store?
Oh, Marvel 2-in-1 69, The Thing, and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice.
Yes. That book scared the hell out of me.
Did it really?
Yeah. Listen, I'm what was I, like 4 or 5 years old, whatever the hell I was. There's this book, and there's a guy covered in rocks, and then a blue guy with a fin, and another guy, blue and white guy, and then there's like this giant midget kind of guy.
Giant midget?
Yeah, Charlie 27. Whatever the hell he was. I shouldn't say midget. I'm sorry. He's all out of proportion, and like all these characters, and they're in this mysterious smoky fog in there. And I remember the cover being really dark and stuff, and like that scared the crap out of me. But I had to see what was going on because these characters looked so interesting to me. It was. I think I wound up enjoying every book that scared the hell out of me, whether it was like that Marvel 2-in-1 or New Mutants when Bill took over. Or Frank Miller's Daredevil, or Dr. Zero when Dennis Cowan was doing it, or The Question when Dennis did it the first time around. Those books scared the hell out of me because they were weird. Like Doctor Strange too, although I never really collected Doctor Strange. But the other books, they all scared the hell out of me. All the art was really quirky and just wild and all out there. And I mean, it's probably influenced the way I work, but it's definitely influenced my comic buying habits and just my art sensibilities in general.
By the way, William Wolford said hi, Phil and Chris.
Hey, Will.
Will's inked a few things for me. He's a good guy.
Yeah, William's a good guy. I like William.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I met him on the internet, and he's always been a nice guy.
Yeah.
His inks, he just keeps getting better and better with his inks too. He's doing a great job. I look forward to when he gets into the traditional really well.
Right. Yeah.
We have a few questions. We have a few hellos. Just trying to go over them. So since you have done so much, okay, Dell's got another one. I told you. Since you've done so much and completed a lot of great projects, does that make you tense up more because you have to meet those expectations in each project you do, or does that not faze you at this point?
Oh my God! All right.
He knew exactly what to ask you.
This shit keeps me up at night. Let me tell you something. I will tell you, I am in therapy. Right? Like legitimate, I am in therapy. I've been in therapy for a couple of years. It's helped. I freaked my therapist out one day when I told her my theory of zero, right? Bear with me. I don't read many reviews of my work, right? Because I can't deal. It's too much. It's also a lot of bullshit because, like I said, I like to fly under the radar. I don't take any of that stuff too seriously unless it winds up being negative, and then it keeps me up at night for days at a time. No, but if I finish a book or I finish, a batch of pages or whatever, I'll send them out to my editor. Editor will send them out to the writer, the penciler, the inker, whatever. I'll get an email back saying, "Hey, this is great. Keep going like this." And that stuff usually doesn't faze me too much. But when I get an email or something, like I got a note from an editor at Marvel about a book that wasn't in his office, it was just in his stack of reading, and he said, "Hey, this was really great work. I don't know what it is, but this is probably the one of the best books you've done so far." And that shit wrecked me. It wrecked me because it was Cyclops, when I was working on Cyclops, right? It wrecked me because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so he really liked this as a reader, as a fan. I impressed him. I impressed an editor as a reader. Everything now has to be this good. If it's not this good, then it's bullshit. I can't hand in anything that's not at least this good now. So like that's my new zero. That's my level, right? So anything below that is now unacceptable.
Man, you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
I'm in therapy, dude.
It'll make you go gray.
Yeah.
I was being a wise ass.
Yeah, this isn't from the kids.
Yeah. And you didn't color it, right?
No.
You don't color your own hair? What the hell? You're a colorist.
Yeah. So everything has to reach this level, and that level is now my new zero. That's my starting point. Like if everything from there has to be better, it can't be any worse. Because any worse,
how are you going to climb that mountain if because you're going to continue to get accolades with what you do?
No.
Sure you will.
I'm going to have a heart attack before then. All right. That's the only out I see, is I'm going to have to die or some shit, or just be in the hospital or something, and just not be able to continue. Either that or retire. Because that's the way it'll end.
That because you put out some amazing stuff. I've been a fan. And again, listen, you know how I know you're a good colorist? I'm freaking colorblind, and I see color when you color. Like, my wife doesn't understand why I need like an HD TV and stuff. She's like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm like, that's because you see colors bright. I see everything like it's the freaking honeymooners. I need some color. I need to see it's blue, it's red. Give me some color.
Right.
So give me a high definition picture, damn it. And when I look at your comics, their colors pop at me. They're colorful. They look great, and that's when I know.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. So
that.
stop being hard on yourself. I know it's not that easy, but try, because it's not fair to yourself. It really isn't, and you deserve better than that.
Listen, this is a competitive field. I know that. I know I'm not getting any younger, and I know these motherfuckers back here are licking at my heels.
But you're still successful and requested by major people, and you're still on every damn book.
I'm doing
people didn't realize, like, when you were doing the annual for X-Men, just not too long ago, and just, I mean, there's so many books that I see your name on. I mean, obviously, there's a reason for that. So, cut the shit. By the way, Brandon Hammock, thanks for being patient, buddy. Have you ever had a project that you were working on ever just about break you? How did you move past it? Man, these guys are really coming at you with the.
These are hard, but these are deep. These are deep cuts.
I warned you. I got a good group of people that come in, man.
All right. Back in, I want to say 1999, actually. No, it was in 2002. I was working on Captain Marvel, Cable, Noble Causes for Image, and there was another 2 books. Can't remember what they were. So I was doing about 5, maybe 6 books worth of work a month.
Yeah, that's a sign of someone who sucks.
Yeah. So
those shitty people get 5 books in the major industry. Yeah.
I'm doing all these books. In February 2002, my body just decided, you know what? I've had enough. You're not working anymore for a while, and you're done. So I wound up in the hospital in February 2002. I was there for 3 weeks, 2 weeks in a coma.
What?
Yeah, it was bad. I almost killed myself
Well, a
because,
coma is bad.
yeah, I had an upper respiratory infection. I was not sleeping enough at the time. I was going on 4 hours sleep a day for uh, November, December, and January. For 3 months, I was going on 4 hours sleep a day. Um, yeah, that's as far as I know anyone can sustain that. It's 3 months because yeah, my ass was in the hospital in February over here at
Well, I've
NASA.
been doing 3 hours of sleep for almost 3 years now.
Oh
So
my God, dude, that's
I
nuts.
meanwhile I maintain my good looks. But go ahead anyway.
Yeah, so I developed an upper respiratory infection, which really messed with my asthma. I have horrible asthma. That's why I can't smoke pot. So I saw someone mention that before.
Really,
Um,
I didn't see that.
Dante at 10:58. Maybe you need to drink or smoke pot or something. That's too much pressure.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I can't smoke pot because of my asthma. But anyway, I'm in the hospital. I wake up from the coma after a couple of weeks. And the doctor was like, "Holy shit, you're up!" They had no idea I was going to get up, that I was going to wake up.
Before.
They're asking me how often do you smoke, and I'm like, "Smoke? Who the hell smokes?" And they're like, "Well, you must smoke because your lung capacity is shit." And I'm like, "I don't know what the hell's going on." I didn't remember anything. I remembered my wife brought me into the hospital. I remembered seeing doctors over me, and I remember a tube going down my throat. And that
Intubate.
was
Wow.
yeah, I was intubated. That's the last thing I remember. I had nightmares about that for years afterwards. That's why I'm in therapy.
Oh wow.
It took me, I would say, I had nightmares for about 8 years of that day. And I still feel the effects of that time to this day.
Wow. So you have like a PTSD from it.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry to hear that.
So I don't work on the weekends anymore. I don't usually do all nighters. I'll do maybe a couple of late nights if something really demands it, but I don't do all nighters anymore. I don't work on the weekends. I don't have my cell phone on the weekends. I deleted Facebook and Messenger from my phone. I completely disconnect on the weekends and
Yeah,
I
that's why
draw.
it's hard to get in touch with you.
Yeah, exactly. I disconnect and I draw. I spend time with the kids, with my wife. I make sure I cook just about every night.
Nice.
I forced myself to have this time away from work because although it's not
Balance.
yeah, it's not physically demanding. I'm not digging ditches. I'm not working in a factory anymore. I'm not doing any manual labor, but it requires a lot of focus and mentally it can be exhausting. And when I crash hard. But I cannot put myself in the hospital again. I
No.
can't do that to my wife or my kids again. It was, or my parents even. It was way too much for all of them, and I really tried to make sure that work doesn't break me anymore because I'm no good if I can't do that.
That's crazy. Yeah, you got to make sure that doesn't happen again. You
Yeah,
have to take care of yourself so you can take care of your family.
yeah, yeah.
And you have kids, like you said. Are they young or are they older? Or...
My oldest daughter is 29.
Oh man, you're an
I've
old fart.
yeah.
Well, I am too, but I started late. So go ahead.
My other daughter is 20. She'll be 21 on Christmas.
Oh, what a
And
gift.
yeah, and my son Jack is 14.
So you took your time between each. You took a little break,
Yeah, yeah. I hit the reset button every like 9
and
years.
all you did is prolong your retirement
Yeah, I sure did. I tell you though, it's nice to have it spaced out so that not all the kids are in college at the
at
same
the
time.
same time.
'Cause that'll
And you be
break
back to coloring 5 books.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I started late. My kids are 8 and 6. Although my 8-year-old acts like a 17-year-old, and my 6-year-old acts like a 14-year-old boy, as
Uh,
you saw.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got a good glimpse of that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
Um,
all
in all seriousness, though, one of the things I always admired and I think we got along with is I'm a very straight shooter. I'm not afraid of being vulnerable and expressing myself about what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, or those things that a lot of people try to hide and make this perfect image or this tough image as if it's not tough to talk about these things. And I think one of the reasons why we get along is that you're able to do that, and I admire that. And to be able to share that story with everybody, I appreciate that, and just goes to show everybody, you got to take care of yourself. I get yelled at a lot that I've been getting 3 hours of sleep for 2 years doing the shows. I thought I'd get more sleep being home. I mean, I am, but it's still not a lot. It's like 4 to 6 hours. But I've been okay. But yeah, you can't have that happen. I mean, we got to keep you going, man. You got to be on another 100 books.
good. Yeah. Listen, when you're young, you think you're invincible. I used to do that shit before back in the 90s, and I used to be up for a few days at a time, and I used to subsist on like Rice Krispie treats and coffee, and that was it. That's all I needed to keep going. I can't do that anymore, especially now.
No,
You know?
no, 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 no.
No, no.
That's true. So
Yeah.
that's a great question, by the way, Brandon. I don't know if Brandon's still with us because he asked it a long time ago.
Oh.
I'm trying to keep up with our conversation in the chat, and I don't want to miss anybody, so I'm usually lagging behind. So if anybody don't think I'm not getting to you, I just haven't gotten there yet.
And I'm very verbose, so
But that's good. The whole point is we're here to hear you talk.
okay. All right.
Michael Ratliff, he's an excellent artist. You should check him out. How do you stay interested when coloring buildings, and any advice on coloring night scenes?
Ooh, there's a lot of that on Batman Beyond. I got to tell you,
Mm-hmm.
the thing I learned when I started the book, it was with Rick Leonardi, and then Sean Chen came in. Two very different artists, but they, especially when it comes to backgrounds, because you've got Neo Gotham, and that's kind of a character in and of itself, as far as that book is concerned. But you know, everything's always at night. Number one, you never see Neo Gotham during the day. And what I found to help keep it interesting was to keep it like signature Neo Gotham. I watched a lot of Akira. Number one.
Nice.
Which you kind of have to. I think, yeah. If you don't watch Kira, they kick you out of comics. But, you try to pick out all these spaces where you could put neon like tubing or signs or just neon markers or lights and stuff throughout the city, and that kind of helps make it Neo Gotham. And as far as the buildings in particular, I took photos of different lights in different buildings at night, and I would blur them in different ways, and I would lay them over the rendering that I had done on the buildings, because buildings can tend to be a little flat sometimes when you're rendering, because you don't want to put too much attention on the buildings because they're in the background. So you keep a lot of the rendering minimal or the texture very, very faint. You don't want to go too heavy.
Right.
So I blurred these lights so that they look like streaks, and I would lay them on top of the rendering, my very flat rendering. It helped speed up things a little bit in some ways, and also provided a little more depth to some of the buildings, which I like.
Some kinetic energy to the whole piece,
Yeah,
like movement.
yeah, which you need in Neo Gotham. If it was like Queens, then it's okay if it's static.
Right.
But Neo Gotham, there has to be a sense of movement all the time. And if you're not looking down at the street with traffic going by or anything, you need to have some other sense of movement. So having that blur come up and having those lights come up in different spaces inside the bodies of the buildings, inside the facades, that really helped give it a little bit more separation, a little bit more dimension, something that was just signature Neo Gotham as opposed to like regular Gotham City or like Queens or Brooklyn or whatever, just to keep it interesting. So
Does it also kind of give it like a sense of progress? It's the future. You kind of, it's a progress. You're moving forward. Movement is progress.
I didn't want to make it look like Atlantic City, right? Because that's a lot of glitz, but it's all very static. Like all the glitz is there, but it's all in this one place.
Right.
And when we were doing Nightwing, um, we pushed Bloodhaven to look more like more like Atlantic City in some areas because of where the casinos were in the storyline. There's a storyline circling around a casino, right? So I didn't want Neo Gotham to look like Bloodhaven or that part of Bloodhaven. It had to move. There had to be a flow, and I couldn't just repeat myself because then I'm an idiot. So
So do you actually get a certificate that says you're an idiot if you
yeah,
repeat yourself? Like, do they mail you one?
yeah, it's exactly what happens. Like all the colorists get together, Alex Sinclair, Laura Martin, Frankie Armada, they all get together and they vote on the biggest idiot, and that's usually me. And that's the only award I'll win.
You're a mess. I mean that in a good way. By the way, Russ Cassidy is a new color. He mentioned this earlier in the show, so it's prior to you explaining your personal experiences. As a new colorist going through some experiences is cool to hear. When you're talking about your early times in the industry, things like that.
Right.
Dan Lee says that a sketchbook sounds cool, so you were starting a little movement here. And then we got this guy, this heckler coming in here. This dude, always coming in later. He had the exact same shirt. You're like twinsies. Yes, you look just alike. Except you don't have Twinkies crammed in your face. Norman's always eating so much crap. I don't know how he's not fat.
Oh my god.
Dell wanted to know DC or Marvel, which is better in comics, TV shows, animation, movies.
Son of a bitch. All right.
We're getting you from all angles tonight. I warned you. I warned you.
I love the Marvel movies. I love the Nolan Batman movies. I love the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. Aquaman wasn't bad. I love all the DC TV shows. Well, for the most part, I wasn't really watching Gotham, but the DC shows have been great, especially Doom Patrol, which I wasn't sure if I'd like. I haven't seen
into that. I went to 4 episodes. I just couldn't get into it.
No, it's not for everyone. It's totally weird. It's very Grant Morrison.
Yeah, you see, I'm not a big
Yeah. The show is like it's Grant Morrison. The whole show. So if you're not really and listen, sometimes some of that stuff is hit or miss for me. Like it doesn't connect right away. Invisibles took a little while for me to connect to, but I really wound up enjoying that. But as far as the Doom Patrol show, yeah, I love that show. That's great. So it's a little column A, column B. I'm not like this is better than this or I like comics. I enjoy everything. If it's good, that's all I need. I just need it to be good. I need it to be interesting.
Any comics you're enjoying now? Are you reading any?
I actually just finished this one, Happiness Will Follow. Not really a comic, but it's Mike Hawthorne's memoir.
Yeah, I love Mike. He was at my last show. Great guy.
Yeah, this book was so good. This book, I read it over the weekend, and it hit me. It's another thing that hit me right in the gut. Like his experience is uniquely his own, right? But a lot of the things in this book, they're how I grew up too. And it was painful in some ways, but it's also nice to know that I wasn't alone.
Of course, yeah.
It's difficult when you see things that don't include you. I've never seen anything like this before that spoke to me like this. And then when you're finally included, it means something, and for me, I had a very intense reaction emotionally. I didn't cry or anything, but it stuck with me. And I was thinking about it for a long time. And I was thinking back to like some of the stuff that I experienced growing up. And I'm like, shit, yeah, that happened to me. And this was that. And this was this person. And it was interesting seeing how, like, we're both Puerto Rican. We both had some similar experiences, and just seeing how similar some of those experiences were, like it brings it back in a flood, and I kind of feel connected.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always say I try to include everybody in the chat as much as possible too, because we all just want to feel like a community, like we belong somewhere, like we're included. Nobody wants to feel like they're going through something alone or they're the only one or isolated, and nobody wants to feel insignificant, And I've had my childhood, which wasn't easy, and I know what it is to be made to feel insignificant. So I don't want anybody to feel like that, and that's why I try to be as inclusive as possible, And I like deep, in-depth conversations about these things. But unfortunately, I get clowns like this.
Uh-oh.
Dan, Dan is part of. All right, so I never explained to you the Rogues Gallery. The Rogues Gallery came up. I have a faithful group of people that come in every show and watch, and they interact, and they're great people. They really are. But they like to roast me. They like to roast me. So I had a contest, and they came up with the Rogues Gallery, and I picked the Rogues Gallery as the winner because they really are trying to kill me all the time. So, they're not my allies, yet they are. You know what I mean? And like the Rogues Gallery with Flash, sometimes they're good at helping, and sometimes they're not. So
right.
That was perfect. So
Yeah.
Dan is one of the best roasters there is, and I'm actually thinking. I keep talking about it. There's a lot of artists that would like to roast me. So I'm thinking of doing a live roast and have them all just come at me. I won't roast them back at the end. I'll just let them roast me and we'll laugh as long as they don't suck.
Okay.
And if they suck, I'll tell them, yeah, that sucks. You got to be funnier. But, that's the way it is.
Right.
So Dan did have a question. See, he's useful, I guess, to somebody. What advice would you give to a colorist transitioning from traditional to digital?
It's all the same thing except for the tools. That's the only thing that's different. It's the same color theory. It's the same technique. It's the same painting. It's all the same. The class that I teach an art class, and I call it an art class because it's an art class. It's not a computer class. It's not a Photoshop class. It's an art class. It's the same foundation in painting. You want to unify your image. You want the focus to be on certain areas. You want to control your values. It's all the same premise of painting, just with a different set of tools. That's all it is.
Okay. By the way, do you know Sigmund Tor?
That name looks familiar.
He is a colorist. He's actually really, really good. He colored a Nightcrawler jam of mine, and that's another one that popped. And I'm like, oh wow, I see colors. This is great. So I mean, he's really, he did some DC work, and he's doing indie work and some things like that, and he's really good. He's really talented.
Okay.
We got a lot of silly comments in here, but we won't have time to get to them all. I apologize. You guys are funny, but that's the way it goes. You don't like it? Tough crap. They're talking about nudes and posing for nudes and stuff. I mean, if you look at the place, yeah, these guys they're the good dregs of humanity. I love these guys, and I probably shouldn't. It's a good thing I'm not guilty by association. So, I mean, what was the comic book who was the comic book creator that you got to? You said who your favorites are, but who have you not gotten to meet that is alive that you would fanboy in front
of? Thank God I met Dennis while I was young, and Bill before I could embarrass myself.
Oh, Jesus. Would you stop?
I listen. I would gush over those guys. I'm a fan. I'm a comics fan, right? I grew up reading all these books and stuff, and then meeting the people behind the work. That's still a big deal to me because I like comics. I like comics and I like art. And I guess I'm glad I never lost that enthusiasm. It's a little weird to me, surreal to me, to think that these are my peers. Whenever I see Walt Simonson, and Walt is great. He'll come over, he'll give me a hug, He'll look for me at a convention just to say hi. And I love that dude. And that's wild to me. The same thing with Lee Weeks. He's always very nice to me, always
Very nice.
magic tricks and stuff. And, I love Lee. And we've gone out to dinner and we've had jokes and had a great time, away from conventions. And it's just very surreal to me. I at one point I would have said Frank Miller would have made me like totally fanboy, or David Mazzucchelli would have made me totally fanboy. Yeah, right. I think I'd be okay now though, because
you was a somebody now.
I've got to. No, when you get to the end zone, you got to act like you've been there before. That's the key, right?
Yeah.
So,
I thought you just did some silly, stupid dance and made a fool of yourself. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Hi, Heather. Thanks for coming out. Speaking about, you were talking about Mike Hawthorne before. Dante said he felt that way reading Jim Valentino's A Touch of Silver.
I've never read that.
Yeah, me neither.
I need to read that.
Dan is actually stepping up and acting human, and he asked, do your emotions or energy at the time of coloring make a difference in the end result?
Yes.
Yeah, when I'm upset, everything's black.
Yeah.
Black page.
Yeah. No, when I try to end as strong as I start. Doesn't always work out that way, but I think I managed to do that more times than not. I'll say, hopefully, if I've done my job right. But I think it's easy to tell when I'm into a book and when I'm not into a book. I did a book, I think it was last year, before I did the New Mutants book, and I'm trudging through it, and it's like, I think it was like double sized or something. So it was like 32 pages of art or whatever it was. And I was just not feeling it. I was in a zone. I was zoned out, and I was like, oh my God. And I'm trying to do things to keep myself interested. And, it was not my best work, but yeah, I had to get it done. And I felt bad turning it in, but what are you going to do? But then there are books that you work on, like when I worked on The Question, and I'm sitting there and I'm just messing it up and going like crazy and stuff. And I got the music going, and, I'm just totally into it, and I'm feeling it. That book was like jazz, I would look at it, and I had a couple of books out on my desk for reference. Bill's Jimi Hendrix book, the hardcover. I had that out on my desk, and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at like some Kent Williams stuff and some John J. Muth stuff, and I'm just painting the book, and I was totally into it. But that other book, I'm not even going to mention the title of the other thing because that's not nice. So, but yeah, there's definitely.
Well, just so you all know, he was listening to Busta Rhymes when I popped in on him earlier.
Yeah.
And Busta Rhymes cannot beat Michael Myers. Just telling you all that right now. That was crap. Total crap. You don't know what I'm talking about. Go see, what is it? What was it? Halloween 8 or 25 or whatever, Halloween in a retirement home or whatever the hell it was. Busta Rhymes was in it, and at the end, Busta Rhymes knows martial arts and fights him and kicks his ass. To me, Busta Rhymes is an even bigger mouthed Shonuff. That's all. He just reminds me of Shonuff. He's just like, ah.
Right.
But he's not glowing. He ain't doing.
Right. Oh my God.
Mike Ratliff asked, did you want to, or was it available to join liquid coloring at the time, which doesn't exist anymore?
No. I mean, I'm sure those guys are doing like another thing. I think they all went with Joe Mad to do video games.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So I mean, they're fine. They don't need me. They don't need comics. No, they weren't looking for me, and I wasn't looking to join a studio really.
You were saying before, you're not the group guy. You're the guy that does this thing on his own.
Yeah, there was a colorist when I early on, when I was working early on, there was a colorist who was coming up. He was decent, and he said, "Hey, do you want to join? Do you want to form a studio? You, me, and we can get a couple other guys." And I said to him, no, I know what this is like. Because I had come from a studio thing before this when I lived out in LA for a couple of years. I don't like LA, but I was out in LA and I ran a studio, and I know what can happen. I know what what kind of work is involved. And I told him no, because I would want to run it because you would run it into the ground within a year. And I told him it's not a slight on you. It's just that you haven't done it before, and I know what it entails. And you would want to be in charge, and I would fight you to be in charge, and we would just not be friends afterwards. And I'm glad we didn't do it because we're still friends now, and our careers have taken totally different paths. So it was better for both of us. But yeah, I see a situation like that. I know exactly what's going to go wrong, and you just see it coming a mile away, and that was not going to be a good fit at all.
So, I mean, besides coloring comics, though, you have other things that you're doing with your career. I mean, comics experience, you teach coloring classes, and I know we have some colorists, up and coming colorists here, but you teach classes at Comics Experience. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I teach it like an art class from the ground up. Um, we do one night of technical stuff, and we only do one night because I hate the technical stuff. I do. The technical stuff is not my friend. Um, it's fine. It's boring. It's not like everyone thinks, oh, tips and tricks and shortcuts and all. No, you have to learn the basics. I teach the basics. I teach the foundation upon which everything is built. It has to be secure. You have to have an understanding of the basics of color theory, of values, of manipulating the reader, a sense of storytelling and pacing. It's more than just rendering. It's more than just fancy lighting effects. Everything you do has to be in service to the story. That's the class I teach. I teach the class that I wish was available when I was coming up, right?
Great.
Not for, oh, Command Z will undo my last thing. No, that's all bullshit. You can use any software. They're all pretty much the same at this point now, especially within the last couple of years. So it doesn't matter if you're using Clip Studio or, Art Rage or Procreate or Photoshop. I still use Photoshop because, I don't break habits. But it's first and foremost an art class. It's the intro class is 6 weeks. You get homework. I give you homework. The homework assignments mimic a part of the decision-making process that comes along with coloring pages. There is class participation. We record the classes, so they're available to watch as many times as you want for the duration of the class. And then I think for another week or two after the class ends, you can still watch all the classes on video, right? And I recommend to everyone, you take the class live, do your homework assignments, and make sure you watch the videos of the class that you just took. Because number one, you're going to ask me a question that was answered in class, but you missed it. So if you watch the class again, you'll get your answer to your question. And number two, I guarantee you there's something else you missed, whether it's a critique, because we do live critiques, and the students learn just as much from the critiques of their work as they do from listening to the critiques that I do of other students' works. Everything is something that they can use, whether immediately or down the road. So the critiques are valuable. The lessons and discussions, we get really deep into color theory and lighting, and I teach color theory in the sense of art, and fine art, and then I give examples of how it applies to comics. Nice. And I use examples of my work. So you can see, it's not, just, oh, green and red are complements of each other. And then, woo, there you go. You got to see how that works.
That's what I usually say.
Right.
Woo, there you go.
You got to see how that works on a page. There's a way to make that work and a way to really screw it up, because if you screw it up, it's going to look like Christmas. But if you do it right, it's going to look like Cyclops blasting a sentinel in the woods.
Right.
I'm
ignoring Dan while you talk, by the way, because he's man, this dude, he's going to have to be on the roast panel. But, Sean Chen told me that he took your class, and it really did a lot for him, to help well-round him as an artist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and Sean's, he's a well-established artist, and he's raving about it. So, so the first class, you said the intro is 6 weeks, and then how does the class schedule work, and then how does it go from there? When does the next class start up?
I'm teaching a class now. We're actually like right smack dab in the middle of the course. I have another class coming up, another round of classes coming up in January. I want to say beginning of January, but I have to check the schedule. You all can see the link there for the classes.
Yeah, it's right there below, comicsexperience.com. For those who can't read, Dan.
So we do 2 hours on a Monday night every Monday for 6 weeks. And I divide the class up into, I want to say bite-sized chunks, but they're more like meatloaf. It's because
Monday Night Meatloaf. There you go.
Yeah, really, that's what it is. It's really it gets dense, right? Like a bad meatloaf. The first
You're really
night,
good at selling the class.
The meatloaf, yeah.
The dense bad meatloaf.
No,
Yes, that's everyone. It's dense bad meatloaf. So please sign up right away.
The thing is, I pack a lot of information into the class because, like I said, I wish this was the class that was available when I was coming up. And also, listen, you pay money for this class. It's not cheap, right? So I make sure that you get your money's worth. I'm available. I'm not just available, I'm present for all the students, right? I'm not just
Dan, he doesn't available that way, Dan. He's talking about for you to talk to him about questions.
I'm there in the classes live. I'm answering questions. I'm positing information. And then even after that's over, that Monday night is over, and on Tuesday, we have a message board where all the students chime in with questions, feedback, any concerns, any comments, and I jump right back in, and I'm there every day for answering as many questions come up that day. Sometimes there are a lot of questions, sometimes there are days where there are no questions, and that's fine. But they know that I'm around and I get back to them within the hour. So it's not just me being there at the class. You kind of have me for 6 weeks. You have access to me for 6 weeks where we go over stuff. We discuss the things that we went over in class, outside of class. There have even been a couple of times where I've done one-on-one sessions online with students who feel like, oh, I didn't really understand this part, or I'm having this technical thing go wrong. And was it like 2 weeks ago, one of the students came in and he messaged me and he's like, hey, I'm using an iPad, I'm using Clip Studio, and I can't quite make the conversions from Photoshop. What am I missing? So I said, you know what? Let's meet at this time, and I will have an answer for every single question that you throw at me.
Nice.
Right? So I showed up, we had a separate meeting, and I brought in another colorist to come in and help explain the things that he was having difficulty with the software he was using, because this other colorist was more familiar. So I had him come in, and it was all three of us. He had two working professional colorists guide him step by step on this technical part of the process to get to where he needed to be for the next class on Monday.
And do you have technical courses as well, like for all those systems that the pro, whatever?
We're going to close the gaps on some of those things. I have a video
Photoshop. There you go.
Yeah. I have a primer video that all the students have access to, where they can go in and watch me do all the technical things, setting up my workspace, opening a file, converting it and getting it ready to paint and flatting and all that stuff. I have my other colorist friend working on a Clip Studio version for the iPad. So he's going to put together that whole other experience in a video, and we'll have that available too for the students. So we're going to cover all the bases.
And you have guest instructors as well. So
Yeah. I've had Laura Martin. I've had Alex Sinclair, Jose Villarubia. I've had Justin Ponzer, Maury Hollowell. I've had Matthew Wilson, Betty Breitweiser, Jordy Belair. All my favorite colorists come in, and they'll spend some time doing it with me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested, can they, for January, how would they go to the website, or they reach out to you, or?
Yeah, they can go to the Comics Experience website, and there is a tab for the courses, and you find the course, whether it's my course or anyone's course that you're interested in, and there's a PayPal link there for you at the bottom of the course descriptions. So you can just go there, click on the link, and you can.
So I'd have to be a student for you to respond to my texts.
Probably, yeah. And not on the weekends.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. You never made that clear. I don't know that.
There's a lot of shit I don't make clear.
Now I know. Saturday and Sunday are off limits.
Yeah.
By the way, Bill Field had said, fellow colorist Lee Duhigg says, howdy.
Oh. Hey, tell Lee I said hi. I like his stuff.
Louis Tramontano said hello to both of us.
Hey, Louis. How you doing?
Louis had said that he... I'm losing it here. Okay. I read every book of the Question Black Label, and he loved it.
Awesome. Thanks, Louis.
Artists teach the next gen. That's what Dan said. And, okay, the rest is silly stuff. So, I mean, you draw, but do you ever do drawing commissions at shows?
I do take a couple of commissions at a show. I'm slow because I don't draw a lot, so I kind of labor over pieces. But yeah, I'll take a commission or two at a show. Yeah.
What's the craziest or funniest or just most outrageous or whatever commission you've ever gotten requested? Did you do it?
I did do it, and I felt really weird afterwards. But the guy was so excited. He asked me to draw on a sketch card a superhero llama throwing up. That's it. A vomiting llama. A vomiting superhero llama. See? That was my reaction.
That's odd.
I did it because, you got to do it. But
I mean, there are some commissions that you might get requested something that you're like, yeah, I'm not touching that one.
I'm sure.
And we've heard a few. We've heard Dan made a joke before about a panda because do you know who Chris Campana is? The artist Chris Campana?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris was on. He's a friend of mine, and he was talking about his craziest commission was some anime character, I don't know who they are, fornicating with a panda bear. He turned it down, but so he says. Yeah, okay, Chris. So it's a running joke. Talking about that. How much would it cost to have a commission of Phil as Busta Rhymes? That would be really funny, actually. If you're willing to foot the bill, I'm willing to be the target. What's your favorite convention moment besides being at Suffolk Comic and Art Expo? You're supposed to say, yeah, that's right.
That was it.
I ask people, I go on shows and I go, so what's your favorite comic convention? Why is it Creatorcon? And the wise asses go, well, there hasn't been a Creatorcon yet, technically.
It's the catering. No.
Yeah.
My favorite convention moment. Oh, fuck, I don't even know. Listen,
All right,
I just sit at my table. Oh man, is it that many?
7, my friend. You are breaking records tonight. This is like decathlon. This is like Olympic level.
It's because I'm so comfortable around you, Philip.
Oh shucks.
It is.
See, you make me red when you embarrass me too, not just when you make me laugh.
Um, I can't think of my. I. You know what? The first time I was invited to do a Marvel signing, I'll say, because we were signing for Captain Marvel. This was at the first New York convention. That was probably the thing that made me feel the best at the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of my favorite artists is Philip Tan, and he was up on the floor at the last con. And you just walk by, and you were going by with Charles Soule. You were going. I see you walking with Charles Soule, and you're walking with Philip Tan. You're walking with all these people, and you're going to sit here and tell us like you're not somebody in the industry when they all respect you. You work with all of them. You worked with Grace, so I don't want to hear any of your crap anymore. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your self-deprecating, humble bullshit. All right, you're like Sean Chen. Sean Chen's the same way.
I love Sean.
Yeah, he's so humble as well. I mean, I love you guys for being humble, but sometimes I just want to kind of like, what are you talking about? Anyway, Lou asked if you can make payment, like pay in payments before the class. Like the next class is January. Can you make payments to it, or is it one time you have to pay full?
I'm pretty sure you can split up the payments. You'd probably have to click on the contact tab and just double check with them, with the admins. But I'm pretty sure they'll send in 2 separate invoices for half the amounts. Yeah.
If I had any sense of coloring, I'd take the class, but it would be bad. No, listen. Here's the funny thing: when you put red and green together,
Right.
it strobes, and I can't like if you put red lettering over a green background or green lettering over a red background, it's a strobe effect, and I can't read it. I can't make it out. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, some video games do that, and I'm like, I can't read this, and my wife's laughing at me, like, well, tough shit, stupid. But that's love.
So it would be wrong of me to, there are Kyle Baker's really good at this. There are color palettes, color choices that you can make where you can create kind of a vibration between the colors if they print right.
Really?
Yeah. Kyle Baker is a freaking genius at this, and I attempt sometimes to do it. It would be really mean of me to start experimenting with that now.
So I know the next time if I get a commission from you again or something, you're gonna purposely like do crap to me, right? And I'm gonna be looking at what looks like a strobe effect, and then I'm gonna have a seizure and I'm gonna sue you.
That would be mean. Yeah. I won't do that. Yeah.
Red and green, don't let Phil buy the Christmas decorations. Oh, you're gonna get a Christmas card and just wait till what it shows. All right, here we go. Here's Norm now. I'm painting green so Phil cannot see me. You know how? Hey Norm, I'll still see you. You know why? Because red and green doesn't eat Reese's Pieces and drink Tang and eat peanut butter constantly. So I'll still be able to see you, Norm.
Norm's in good shape, man.
I don't get it. He's not fat and he eats so much crap. He comes to my show. I'm like, what do you want to eat? He goes, let's go to McDonald's. I'm like, McDonald's? That's what you want to eat? And he ate crap at McDonald's and he was happy. He's got this big smile on his face. Num, 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 num. I love Norm. I really do. I've gotten to know him well over the last, 6 or 8 months, and he's such a great guy. Not that I don't knock Tang at all. Tang cupcakes are the way, man.
Tang cupcakes? What?
Norm's wife made Tang cupcakes once, so that's the running joke now with him. He had 10 cupcakes. He will eat anything that has sugar, grease, fat, and crap in it.
Oh my God.
Norm sits back. He watches the show quietly, makes a comment here and there, then acts like he's not there anymore. But he's listening. He's watching. I know. You're like that guy in the tree outside my window with the binoculars. I know. Did you get to talk to Norm at my last show, or you didn't get to see him?
No, I did not see him at the last show.
He was in the aisle behind you.
Oh, I wish I had.
Yeah, well, and Mike Hawthorne was there too.
Oh, was he? I gotta, I now I kind of want to talk to him in person and
Well,
yeah,
hopefully he'll come back to my next show. We'll get you
yeah.
all there again. Norm
Oh,
says he'll come back, so that's cool.
awesome. Good. I'll be there.
Yeah, awesome. We'll have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like your shows.
Thank you. I wasn't trying to fish for a plug, but go ahead, say
No,
it.
listen, uh, your show is just it's pleasant. I don't know why. There's not any kind of quantifiable thing I could
Yes,
point
there
at
is.
and say this is
I
why.
don't invite dicks.
But
There
maybe
are
that's
certain
it.
people that could be at my show that I won't invite because they're not positive, they're not great with fans, and they're full of themselves. And those people I don't want at my show. I don't care how many tickets they'll sell. I don't want them there.
Right, right.
That's why.
That's I'll take that. That sounds like a reasonable answer. But I'll do other shows and I'm just kind of there. But at your show, it feels like I'm part of it.
Of course you are.
You
Are you
know.
kidding me? I was grateful that you listen. You didn't even know me really when I asked you to come to the first show, and I'm this rinky-dink one. I said this to Scott and a few other people and Sean. You guys could just like, I don't know this guy. It's a one-day show. I don't know. What kind of attendance is he going to get? And you all showed up, and you know what? Attendance was good, thank God, and we had a good show. And
Yeah.
and you were, I mean, honestly, you floored me by giving me that Captain America. I just thought it was just the kindest, nicest thing, and I didn't expect that. But now I do. So every show you need to give me something. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course.
I'm kidding. Oh, and I should have showed the Nightcrawler. Well, I've posted it before. I got a lot of likes. You drew the Nightcrawler bust for me, or
Right.
headshot as well. It was a nice big 9x12. So yeah, I've gotten some traditionally colored and drawn by you. So are you open for commissions right now?
Uh, there are a lot of other artists who are looking for commissions and could use the work. So I had kind of closed that off. But I did start taking a couple if people hit me up in like a private message or something and say, hey, I was thinking about this down the line. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. But I'm not really actively seeking them out just because, with the shutdown, there were so many people
Well, you
who had
see,
their books
I
paused.
think he was a girlfriend. No, I was kidding. No, I was kidding. Women don't kill me. Yeah. So, if someone wanted a commission, should they reach out to you, or will you say, "Go to hell"? There's other artists.
But don't got on. No,
And
no, no.
and don't ask on a Saturday or Sunday, people.
Yeah, don't count on that. No, yeah, they can hit me up. Yeah, we'll
Okay,
talk.
cool.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give aspiring artists and colorists coming up in the industry?
Oh, draw everything. I did another one. Son of a bitch.
Hey, let's see if you break 10 in the next 5 minutes or so.
All right. Draw as much as you can. Learn as much as you can from whoever you can. And don't just think that comics is just art or just writing. It's a business. It's very important to learn the business side so that you're not taken advantage of, so that you know what you can expect, so you know what you can't expect. And it's really difficult to do this, and I have trouble with this also, but try to understand your worth and value.
Absolutely. Best advice.
Yeah.
Best advice. By the way, Dell probably left for a while because he was quiet. He asked all his damn questions, hoping to win the art. He probably left and went and watched like Superman or freaking Avengers for the 80th time. And then he comes back and goes, wow, almost 2 hours. Phil hasn't bothered you at all. Maybe your 6,000 questions bothered him, Dell. And as a matter of fact, you didn't clean your glasses at all.
No,
Yeah.
I'm good, man.
So my last question for you, and then we'll take a few minutes to see if I missed any from the peanut. I should call them the peanut gallery, but anyway, if you could go back in time to when you were first starting out, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, it's not like you were prepped for questions or anything.
No.
You didn't read them, did you?
You'd think I'd have a better grasp on this, right? No, because I don't know. Like, listen, I was so focused on getting to this point. I sacrificed a lot. Like there were 3 years where I did nothing but just focus on trying to get this kind of work, right? And I seriously mean nothing. I did nothing extracurricular at all. I was home and I was in my studio at my table, just drawing and trying to understand and, doing things and redoing them over and over. And there were a lot of times where I felt like I would give up or not put myself out there. And I'm kind of glad I didn't give up and I did put myself out there. Every time I did that, it was a learning experience. And I've had a lot of great experiences along the way. I had opportunities to do like full illustrations for things that I never would have thought I could do. Not, some dumb kid from the Bronx getting to do the things that I've done in and outside of comics. My advice to myself would be, take as much as you can and learn your limits as soon as you can.
Okay, sounds good. Dell's already with the questions. I mean, he didn't even wait for you to finish talking before he was throwing out another damn question. Is there a project that you wish you had a chance to redo? And he'll probably say, yeah, 15,000 of them.
There is a chance I may redo some pages for the question for the trade.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Just because at the beginning of the series, I was kind of in one place, and by the time I got to the end, I felt a lot more comfortable. So I think if I can, I want to go back to the first issue and kind of tinker around with a couple of things and try to not fix, but rework some things so that they're finessed a little bit better. So it's a more consistent book.
Now, would you be just tweaking what you did because you have a digital file, or you would start from scratch? And is that paid, or are you just doing that?
I'll just do it. That's
the perfectionist in you.
I have to, because I have the chance. I don't have that chance with other things. When I do a book at Marvel, I got to get the book done, and it's got to be done the first time, and that's it. They don't come back to me and say, hey, we're going to do this thing, and is there anything you want to fix or change? But on the question, they've already posed to me that there's going to be a tiny tweak to a page on a specific issue of the series. Okay. And they said, if there's anything else you want to do, we can talk about that too. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Let me take a look at the books. And I'm looking at the first few pages, the first issue. I'm like, ooh, I'd like to kind of fix up some of this stuff. So okay. Yeah, if they let me, I'm going to do that.
So Lou has hounded me to ask a question that I was going to. I just have to let you actually speak before I get to it. Ciro, I want to thank you for donating all the money from those awesome color guides I bought and many others bought from you at Masks for America. Are there any color guides left? I'd like to buy a couple more to donate to the Wonder Woman Day charity auction to raise money for a woman's shelter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've got a few up. I can. If you go backwards into my Instagram, you can see which ones weren't claimed, and you can message me. Or I can message you towards the end of the week, and we'll figure something out.
Okay, great. Dante wanted to know. So does DC does that? Dante's an English major. That for all Black Label books, or is this just a one-off?
I don't know if they do that for all the Black Label books. Like allow you to go back in and tinker with stuff. I don't know that I'm a special case either. So
you're special to me.
Oh, Phil.
Um, can you show the art again? Let everybody know what they're looking to win.
Yep.
Again, best question I will determine. There's a glare. Can you tilt it back towards you? Oh, that works
Here
too.
we go.
Okay. A Venom that Chris drew and colored traditionally, right?
Yep. Yep.
And again, he offered this up, so I really appreciate that kindness and generosity. I will review the best question as I always do tomorrow, but it won't be later because I'm helping Billy Tucci with his fulfillment on She. I will be announcing with a video tomorrow evening who the winner is after I get to review the questions. Chris, you won. A thank you from me for coming out to watch the show. Even though you were late and you were asking me questions 2 minutes to 10, which means you forgot that the show was on. But Dante reminds me of my ex-wife. She'd yell at me like that. Oh, that's why she's an ex, right? So, I mean, that's an amazing piece of art. Is that 9 by 12?
Yeah. No.
8 by 10?
8.5 by 11.
Oh, perfect. They have frames for that. You can frame it and put it up. And one of you lucky fools will win it tomorrow. And Chris's question is, why do you put up with Philip Russert? You should be asking my wife that question, not Chris.
It's in short bursts, so.
Oh, shit. That's what she says, too, because she's never around. No, I'm kidding. It's weird. She always comes home and smells like cologne. No, I'm kidding. All right, Lewis has a question. Chris, as a colorist, how is it doing the colors for the incredible, unique Bill Sienkiewicz artworks, especially compared to other artists?
Bill is something different. You know, I was telling my wife, and I even said it before, that Bill's work is like jazz, and there's a lot more energy that goes into it, and I can experiment more because Bill just gives me that kind of leeway. So that's nice. So.
I told you he's still watching.
You're the prize, Norm. You are the prize.
I'll tell you what, Norm. In honor of Norm Ratman, I am going to do some sort of like M&M giveaway or something. I'm going to be like a candy giveaway as a second prize, and it's going to be called the Norm Ratman Prize, or maybe like a coupon to McDonald's or something to clog your arteries. And I'll be calling it the Norm Ratman Prize. Tonight, you will win the Norm Ratman Prize, and I'm not even kidding. I am going to. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do some sort of like a McDonald's coupon or something, or junk food.
It should be the coupon book that they give out for Halloween.
Yeah. There you go. And you're going to win the Norm Ratman free giveaway prize.
There you go.
All right, Norm. In honor of you, my friend, that's what we're going to do. All right. So again, I want to remind everybody, www.comicsexperience.com. Go there and take a look. They're in the middle of classes right now, but you can sign up for January classes with Chris Sotomayor.
That's decent, yes.
Oh, you son of a bitch. That's the best ranking I got so far. You can sign up for classes. He said that you double check with them, but you could probably split payments, but there will be a PayPal there to make payments. The initial course is 6 weeks. It's very hands-on. Chris dedicates a lot of extra time outside of the classroom for you. He goes from soup to nuts. It's an art class, not just coloring. Coloring is part of the art, but it's an art class. And they will help you with the technical side of things. He has guest colorists that come in as well, Alex Sinclair and many others, Laura Martin, etc. And if you haven't noticed by the interview, Chris is very passionate, and he wants you to have the experience that he wished he had. So he's going to teach you and really get you up to par. Yeah. So I highly recommend anybody who really wants to learn how to color or is struggling with it to find a way to sign up for the class and join up. And again, it's www.comicsexperience.com. Is there anything else that you want to plug, Chris? Or
Batman Beyond is ending, which is a shame, but I'm still working on Deadpool. I've got some milestone books coming up, one of which is called Duo that I'm working on with Greg Pak and Koi Pham. I've also got another book, an indie book called Happy Hill that I'm working on with Joe Mulvey. We're wrapping up the first issue. Joe keeps adding pages for some reason, and he's driving me nuts. And I also worked with Joe and Rich Dueck on a book called Wailing Blade. The trade paperback's coming out soon, and we're actually doing brand new material for that. So you're getting extra story in there too. So
nice. So you're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those sucky colorists, they sure do get a lot of work. Lou had another question. Which two characters do you choose to create a single new amalgam character? Let's create Norm and Chris and put you two together. The inking colorist. How's that sound? We'll put you two together.
I like
you
that.
You both have the Vertigo shirts. You're both like twinsies.
Yeah, we're all twinsies already. Yeah. I would probably choose like a Captain Marvel and a Green Lantern.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about Quasar and Green Lantern?
Oh, yeah. That might be even better.
Or Dr. Spectrum from the Squadron Supreme.
I like Dr. Spectrum.
Yeah, there we go. We got some ideas, Lou. Lou, you're an artist. Get on it. Draw it. Let's go. Come on. As a matter of fact, Lou, where are your donations, your art donations to the free giveaway? Huh? Oh, I told you, Chris, this is not a serious show.
No, I love it. This is great.
I don't mean any disrespect, but there are some, and I'm not naming anybody specifically, so I don't want anybody to think I'm being specific. But there are some Q&As that bore the shit out of me. I mean, I'm sorry. Here's my question. Here's my answer. Here's my question, and I'm like Archie Bunker with the I'm like, come on, guys. No, I'm not saying mine is a great show, but I try to make it lighthearted and fun and engaging. And at the very least, the person I'm talking with, we usually have fun and 2 hours goes by. And if they don't like it, well, what the hell do you want me to do? Get a dancing bear? So,
right.
And we have Norm. We have a Norm. Oh, we're like Cheers. So when Norm comes in the room, we have to yell, Norm! That's great. From now on, Norm, when you come in the chat, we're going to go, Norm! Look, it was great having you on. I had a lot of fun. 2 hours goes fast. I mean, I really
didn't even realize,
That's cool, because usually 2 minutes, my wife is like, yeah, we're done.
That's already, yeah.
Oh, Lou answered me. I'm donating a bunch. I'd love for Steph to do a sketch for a Wonder Woman Day charity auction. Listen, she probably would love to do that. The question is, how long would it take her? Everybody who needed the charity would probably have starved or died or whatever before she got it to them. So, who's Cliff Clavin? Dell. Dell, Dante. That's his Cliff Clavin. We'll give you the Ted Danson role. We'll give Dan Lee will be Carla. Oh my God, I love these guys. I really do.
Man.
Is Steve Garcia here tonight? He's never missed a show. Where the hell is he? Anyway, Chris, if you don't mind hanging out backstage for a minute.
Sure.
Thank you for coming on. I had a great time. I do appreciate not just your time and coming on and sharing your wisdom, but just, being open with us, being human. At the end of the day, I think we need to just put down the swords and remember that we're all human. We all have the same fears, insecurities, pressure we put on ourselves, need to feel we've contributed something that matters to life. We all have these things. So when you get to come out and talk about that and share that and bare your soul, I think it's not only strong, but it's inspiring. And I think it's a really cool thing to do. And I do appreciate that.
Thanks, Philip.
Oh, Steve is here. I was like, it's not a show without Steve. He named the Rogues Gallery. I love this guy. Honestly, they're all great. Dante and Dell and Bill Field and Steve Garcia. They're all awesome people. They're very supportive. And the show wouldn't be the same without all of them. And Lou has joined in on the Rogues Gallery. And
awesome. And
there's a lot of people. So I just thanks to all of them. Awesome. But anyway, Chris, thanks again.
My pleasure.
I will no longer bother you on a Saturday and Sunday. And if you give me a few minutes to say see you to everybody, I will catch up within the backstage.
Okay. All right. Thanks for having me.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks. You too.
All right. So that was Chris. Are you ready, Chris? Sotomayor. All right, I got a thumbs up. I think he's just being nice at this point. But anyway, thanks for everybody for coming out. I mean that sincerely. To everybody that comes out, I really appreciate it. And to the Rogues Gallery that is just consistent every night. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. It really is appreciated. The loyalty, the dedication, the support. I really hope you all get it back 100-fold. You're awesome people, and I'm glad I met you. And even if you don't watch an episode, I'm still glad I met you. Well, maybe except for Dan Lee. But actually, he's sleeping probably by this point, so he didn't even get my jab. So considering Colorist Week, Friday we have Alex Sinclair, another top colorist in the industry, another nice guy. Thursday I will be on Enrique Lopez show. It's Inking with Kike, but he's not going to be inking. He's just going to be talking to me for whatever that's worth. So I'll be on the other side of the mic this time, and you guys will really get to roast me, and I welcome it. Come to Kike's show, give him the views, mess with me, roast me. I don't care. Just come on out. Let's have some fun. Let's remember what we have in common. Let's remember what matters. Laughter, love, and community. That's important. Enough with the fighting. All right, guys? Look, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And as always, I will leave you with this. Have fun, storm of the castle.